All right, we're working on a 2019 Ford Transit Connect cargo van. Changing the oil. This 2019 one, all new interior. It's got the 2-liter gas engine. We're going to be changing the oil.
All right, Michael, you have 8 of these Star. Take off this pan. I'd leave that one on to hold it up.
This one would not be fun to do without a lift. Having to take this off, laying on your back.
I agree. If you'll show them right here, it slides up under that lip. Just pop it out on both sides, and then just take it right off.
There we go. Oil pan and oil filter. This is a brand new one, so this is its first oil change. Everything's all nice and clean. Go.
All right, 15 millimeter on the socket. The torque to the T30, which took off that cover that went across here. And the oil filter takes a small, but normally you can get them loose by hand, which this one you can. All right, we're gonna let this drain for a little bit. All right, we're back. We let that drain all it can. Make sure your little rubber O-ring stays in it, because sometimes they'll stick and come out. I always say just put them back as tight as they was to come off. These don't have to be real tight because they got O-rings on them nowadays. All right, we're gonna get the oil filter. This thing is going to leak everywhere. Just spin it and let it leak. Get out of the way for a few minutes. Now, rule of thumb: when you take an oil filter off, always make sure your gasket come off with it. Because if it stays up there and you double gasket, it'll leak like crazy. And you'll be back underneath here. New oil filter. I'll let him zoom in on the number, FL910S. Take a little of this oil and just wet this down just a little bit. Don't take much, just so it's not wanting to stick on you. Now, I tighten them by hand, but I'm pretty strong, so it don't take much. Alrighty, we're gonna let it down. I'm gonna put this cover on first. I'll take a picture after we get it on, and then we're gonna let it down, put oil in it. These little tabs right here, if you look at it, there's some tabs on it. They slide up on top of this. Now remember, this is my first time too, so y'all bear with me. It slides underneath them. Once you get it slid, it'll hold itself long enough for you to get the bolts in it. Thank you, Michael. I'll probably I can't see. All right, I'm gonna get this one with a ratchet because my wrench is just a little too long to get it back in there. Forgot about this one. All right, I'm gonna tighten this one down, then I'll go through and tighten all the others up snug with that little impact. And if you use a little impact, one little click's all you need. Figure out what I did with that other bolt. One click. Okay, we're good, all except for the one I gotta find. All right, we've got everything done underneath. I'm gonna turn it over to Michael. He's gonna let it off the lift and then put the oil in it, and he'll tell you how much oil to put in it and everything.
All right, so it takes 5W20. Cap's pretty easy to get to and tells you what kind of oil you need. Requirements does say API SN Plus, which this Castrol Edge oil, full synthetic 5W20, meets the specifications. This is a synthetic only from the research I did online, so cap just twists off. It calls for 4.8 quarts, so I'll put about 4.5 in there and then we'll go from there. It's showing right under full. I'll go ahead and put the cap back on, crank it up, and then we'll check it again. Alright, just cranked it. You always want to look under it, make sure there's no oil leaking. All I see is water leaking from the air conditioner. You always want to check oil gauge, oil pressure gauge, or light, which ours shows to be good. So now we'll check the oil again and see if we need to top it off.
You always lose a little bit of oil because it fills up your oil filter when you start it.
I couldn't read it very good there. Let's try again. Okay, went down a little bit. It's about halfway in between the markers now. So we'll top it off and should be good to go. That's changing the oil on a 2019 Ford Transit Connect with the 2-liter engine. All right, it ended up taking the full 5 quarts, even though it calls for 4.8, and it was still just a hair under the line on the dipstick. So now we're back inside the van to do the final step, and that is reset the oil life indicator. So using the controls on the left side of the steering wheel, we're going to go to the gear on the screen and hit OK. Excuse me. We're going to hit the 3 little lines that bring up the menu for the gear. Okay, then we're going to hit OK again to go into the information menu. All right. And if I can get it to where you can read it. The oil life is the 3rd thing in the list. So I'm going to hit OK. And gives you the option to reset oil life. I'm going to hit OK again. And it's going to say hold OK to reset. I'm going to hold it. Oil life reset successful. All right, and that's it. She's ready for another 5,000 or so miles.